Now, before you guys actually give me any negative feedback, I actually think Florida State football is going to do something pretty good this year. And I'll tell you why. Number one, it's Mike Norvell's second year as a head football coach. Reason number two, he's having a spring season to actually work with to get players in early, to get them enrolled, to get them ready for football, to play college football instead of high school football. And, he's also being able to build his class more for next year and the year after. Versus last year, he didn't have much of anything to work with. He had talent there, but we all know Florida State's situation with offensive line and among other issues, the defense not being as good as it should be. I think a lot of that's going to change. Now, before you say anything crazy about me, I am not saying Florida State's going to make the playoffs. They're going to win the ACC title. They're going to make it to a New Year's Six bowl. I doubt that stuff's going to happen. But 7 or 8 win seasons can be big too. I'll tell you why. Florida State's got a pretty rough schedule. They got Clemson on the road. Notre Dame's at home to start the year off. They got to go to the Swamp. Who else do they play? They got to play Louisville at home, but Louisville's always a competitive game for some reason. You got Miami at home. Boston College again. Syracuse usually is a tough game for Florida State. So you got Wake Forest. They want to get some redemption for that team that beat them back in 2019. I remember that game. So it's a lot of stuff for Florida State to battle through this year. But they had a great recruiting class, in my opinion. They had guys transfer from Arkansas, South Carolina, UCF, Georgia, that big linebacker, defensive end guy, Johnson. Great player, by the way. I'm looking forward to what Florida State does in 2021. I really think they're going to win 7 or 8 games. And I think one of those wins will be against a top-ranked team. And it'll be either Florida, Miami, or Notre Dame. I don't think they're beating Clemson right now, especially on the road. But I think they'll compete with Clemson pretty well. I just don't think they're going to beat them. If they could keep it within 2 touchdowns, then that shows me they're on the right track. They shouldn't have a problem beating teams just as good or a little bit less than though this year. So I'm excited to see what they do. As far as their bowl game is concerned, not a New Year's Six bowl. I doubt that. I don't think they're going to an Independence Bowl. I think the Cheez-It Bowl, something like Miami had this past year. Maybe Florida State finishes in the top 25. This is not an easy schedule, but you have a bunch of good players coming in. Their offensive line is coming back. I thought they actually played a little bit better at times than they have in a while. Now, granted, that offensive line was still kind of young, a little bit inexperienced. You know, they had a first-year offensive line coach who I thought did pretty well this year. Now you got more experience under your belt. You got most of your guys coming back. So that's going to be an advantage for Florida State. So let's see. What else did I want to say? You know, I think they'll have a good game with Miami. They'll have a good game with Florida. I'm not sure if they'll beat those teams. They may beat Miami just because it's at home. But Florida's a different animal. And I'll talk about Florida in another video. You know, I think Florida might have a little bit of a down year this year, but not to where they lose to FSU at home. I just don't see that happening. I know Florida State's gotten the better of Florida at home, you know, at the Swamp in the last 10 years, but still, Florida's a pretty good football team. Dan Mullen's a great coach. This will be his 4th year there, and even though I think they'll have a bit of a down year, I still don't think Florida State's going to be good enough to beat them. They might be able to compete with them at the Swamp, but that's about it. Okay, like, comment, subscribe. I'll talk about other teams later.